Thanks so much for joining us, and it's good to have you with us. How are you today?
I'm fine, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure's all mine. Thanks so much. So I think a good place to start on this would be maybe to give a bit of brief background about who you are and your role and your experience, and just to kind of touch on the introduction process.
Sounds good. So I currently work with Facebook. I manage business partnerships for Facebook for the APAC region for Integrity. Prior to this, most of my career has been with various online businesses. For over 10 years, I've been with various online companies, large and small. And the topic of discussion today around setting up online businesses is what majority of my career has been focused on, be it working at large companies like Amazon or Twitter and setting up businesses for them, or being a part of high growth startups and setting up businesses within those startups, or setting up a business on my own, which I did last year, and being an angel investor and an advisor to various startups. So it's been a lot of exposure to different facets of the online industry, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of my learnings.
Nice, an exciting time. So wanted to just kind of reflect on the previous presentation. So we've heard a lot about kind of the people and cultural element of technology businesses and digital businesses, and obviously you've been involved in building digital and tech businesses. So I wanted to kind of ask you about your experience there, and we often talk about the technology involved, the digital tools and technologies in place, but how important is it to kind of create the right mindset for success?
I think that's probably the single most important thing for success as a digital business. If you look at any successful digital business, be it Amazon or Google or Apple or Facebook, one thing that really all of them do well is to stay ahead of the curve. And they do this by constantly being at the forefront of innovation and by tracking what is happening, outside of even their industry, related and unrelated trends that could have potentially an impact on their core business. So I would say, creating that culture of being entrepreneurial and open and keeping eyes and ears open. And, that is something that should start ideally in a tech business at the leadership group, and that needs to percolate across all levels of the organization. One quote I would say share here with you today is what used to be a mantra at Amazon, where Jeff Bezos called out a day zero mindset. All of us, had been required to get to work with the mindset that it's day zero, with a level of agility, hunger, and flexibility to really start fresh and not get bogged by the structures and the large business that existed that we were a part of. So I think getting that right mindset and making sure that everyone's on page with that is probably the single most important ingredient to building a successful tech business.
Nice. And have you ever kind of, with that, encountered any kind of challenges or resistance in trying to set that out?
I would say it's a critical part of the culture, and getting that right and getting everyone aligned on that is easier said than done. Of course, there are a couple of tangible steps that an organization can take to make sure that it really runs across every single person in the organization, and it becomes a core part of the DNA. From hiring the right kind of people and ensuring that the culture is really entrepreneurial with a high degree of autonomy and ownership, where people have the ability to make mistakes and fail, and they have the environment where they can learn from their mistakes, and a culture where people can rally together and really support each other and work together as community. I think all of these really go a long way in bringing about that mindset.
Nice, yeah. And then we've seen an increase in new digital and tech-based businesses, or an evolution of tech businesses over the last decade or so, looking to address digital business challenges. What do you think are kind of the key ingredients for organizations to succeed in a digital context?
I think in addition to the mindset that we discussed about, I would probably summarize the three key ingredients as the three C's: context, culture, and community. I think for a tech business, it's really important to be constantly watching of the overall context and what it
Mhm.
means for this particular organization. To give an example, ride-hailing businesses have significantly impacted the auto industry, and we couldn't have anticipated, let's say, 10 years back, that this industry would really cause such a big dent to the auto industry. And today, all of us know that the self-driving cars business is potentially going to impact the ride-hailing business in a significant way. So I think the overall
Mhm.
context and how things are shaping up is really important to be constantly aware of and constantly mindful of, and that should be the center of of all the things that tech business does. Number two is culture. Like we discussed earlier, an entrepreneurial culture with a high degree of
Mhm.
ownership is really important to make sure that
Yeah.
people are able to act as owners, and they don't just get sucked into their day-to-day work, and are able to really look at the broader picture and how their work fits into the larger scheme of things. And number three, but not the least, is community. In
Mhm.
Facebook, actually, there's a research that was done where it was, we found out that the single most important thing that helps employees stay engaged and helps to retain employees is an alignment to the mission of the organization. If employees are able to feel a connect between the day-to-day work and what the organization is trying to do, that really gives them a kind of energy that very few things can. So I would say these three are really, the core ingredients to being successful as a tech business.
Nice. And then looking more at the kind of the tech side of things, organizations like looking to further digitize their operations, kind of embracing automation, cloud, mobile. What, in your opinion, are the most important fundamental building blocks to kind of digitizing those business operations?
I've seen a lot of organizations make a mistake, which is they start really translating their offline workflows and processes into a digital one.
Yeah.
It literally becomes a translation using digital tools and processes. And I feel the right way to probably get started, and to get the building block that needs to be in place is to put customers first. Understand what are the needs of the customer, and what parts of it can be improved further through technology, automation, or digitization. And once that is clear, I think then looking at the tools, systems, and processes that can enable that would really go a long way in ensuring that organizations are able to go through this transition to digital effectively.
Nice. And then in your career and throughout your experience, you've been responsible for kind of scaling up the organizations that you've worked for. What are the major challenges associated with getting past that startup stage, kind of not looking at the money or the investment side of things?
I would say the three C's that we spoke about: getting the
Hmm.
context right, constantly staying abreast of the overall context and how the business model of the startup really fits into the context, and if it's staying relevant or not. I think that's very
Hmm.
important. Again, getting the right kind of people and creating that culture in a startup, which has so many challenges. It's a lot
Hmm.
easier for a large organization to, create that culture through various motives and legends, and, probably have a lot of systems and processes to get the right culture. But for a startup, it becomes challenging, and it has to be done more so through an alignment to the mission and vision of the organization. So, in addition to these three C's, I've largely seen most startups struggle with two large challenges. One is where the founders, they have a challenge in terms of really getting the best people and then learning to let go. Time and again, we've seen so many startup founders struggle with that, and it is a fairly difficult, proposition for founders to learn to be able to do that. And I would say the second big challenge that I've seen a lot of startups go through is really, learning to move fast and learn
Yeah.
from the mistakes and constantly evolve.
Hmm.
I think it's very easy for all of us get trained to focus on accuracy and get things right. Whereas
Hmm.
for a startup, it's really important to move fast at the
Yeah.
cost of most other aspects, especially accuracy, and keep learning from making the mistakes, and
Hmm.
keep trying to constantly make mistakes and undo those mistakes and make new ones, and constantly keep learning and evolving. I
Hmm.
think I would say these are the two big challenges that I've seen most startups run into, and the
Hmm.
ones that really manage to crack these two areas, I've seen them time and again emerge as winners.
Hmm. And then just on that point, how do organizations increase their agility of creating, executing, and adjusting a strategy, moving fast and being agile?
I would say focusing on speed over accuracy. I think that's something that's true not just for startups, but for most tech businesses.
Mhm.
I think it's important to create a room for people to, and what that means in terms of strategy and for an organization to enable that sort of a culture is really, promoting and really rewarding people who make those mistakes and learn from those mistakes.
Mhm.
It's easier said than done to, focus on speed over accuracy. But how does an organization enable that day to day really becomes the determinant of, how that shapes the behavior in the organization.
Mhm.
And I would say the second aspect is really, learning to build things for future while focusing on the present. Most tech companies do not have the wherewithal to really, sit and build for 5 to 10 years down the line. They are, really walking on a ground that's constantly changing and evolving.
Mhm.
And it's a challenge as is to deliver and to get things done in this sort of a shifting context. And while doing that, it's also important to start building systems and processes and structures for tomorrow. So striking that balance
Mhm.
between, delivering for today and building for tomorrow, but not too
Yeah.
far out into tomorrow. I think that's a tricky balance that organizations need to get right.
Yeah, nice answer. And then going back to the culture, the people side of things, you've had great experience of bringing together cross-cultural and diverse teams in your past roles and your current role. Just how important is coherency here, and how difficult is this for leaders to manage and execute? Must be a tough old gig having to manage disparate. Especially right now when teams are even more siloed than before due to the kind of the pandemic.
Right. I think getting as many diverse perspectives as possible on the table is just so important for any organization, especially for an organization, in a tech industry, which is really
Mhm.
all about the knowledge capital and about bringing those diverse perspectives and views to figure out the right approach. And most tech companies are catering to a very diverse set of customers, and getting the diversity within the organization really becomes a microcosm of a testing ground to
Mhm.
be able to get the right products and solutions to the market that really
Mhm.
caters to a broad set of customers.
Mhm.
So I would say it's so important to do that. And obviously managing that diverse perspectives and various types of people calls for a coherent people strategy. And again, like we discussed earlier, it's really about getting the right set of people and creating the right environment and
Mhm.
giving them all the ownership and control to really go out and be their best. At
Mhm.
Facebook, there's actually this philosophy about leadership called the servant leadership philosophy, which is almost a requirement for every manager at Facebook, which is to really get the best people and set them up for success, give them all the tools, all the support, and all the guidance that they need, and really get out of the way and operate as servants to the team, to let the team really shine. I think that philosophy is something that really resonates with me, and has proven to be a very good way of managing diverse sets of groups across cultures.
Nice, that's a really good answer. Thank you. And then, what are some of the key elements to building a digital brand that lasts? You've obviously worked for these big tech organizations that have built many digital brands and are here to stay. What are the key elements to building such?
I would say the fundamentals of building a brand, building a lovable and trusted brand, and creating a brand that is, always that people are aware of, that they are willing to consider, purchase, and also have a great recall about. I think the
Mhm.
fundamentals of that remain the same. I think not just a digital brand, for any brand, I think what they need to get right in today's agent stage is leveraging the various tools and techniques and best practices and understanding what the digital channels mean, because
Yeah.
it's something that every brand needs to understand because of how digital has become a part of our lives and society at large.
Mhm.
So I would say that essentially it's the same wine in a new bottle. So it's the same set of philosophies and the same, fundamentals. Just that, the way
Mhm.
we do it is slightly different because of the new channel and the new trends that are emerging day after day.
Nice. And then earlier in the day, and also with the previous presentation, We've touched on how business leaders can stay ahead of the curve when it becomes to being aware about new ecosystems, digital products, and operating models. How can, in your opinion, business leaders stay ahead of the curve?
I would say, it's about really understanding what's happening with the customers. What are the emerging trends? It's
Yeah.
all about keeping the eyes and ears open and understanding what shifts are really happening every day, and that could impact their business. And once the what of it is understood in terms of what are those trends, I think the how of it becomes easier in terms of then figuring out that, okay, if these are the ABC trends that are going to shift my business fundamentally tomorrow, then to be able to stay ahead of the curve, I need to then look at X, Y, and Z. And then these are the new emerging tools, and these are the practices that I need to be tracking, that I need to be implementing in order to stay ahead of the curve. So I would say it's really about going back to the customers, going back to the context, and then figuring out the pieces that really helps complete the puzzle.
And on that as well, us, you and I and everyone else as consumers have become so different in the last kind of 5 years, 10 years, where we now demand kind of instant gratification. We want things, now and quickly. Amazon have completely changed the logistics game for, the private consumer. Just how much kind of demand is there to serve the consumer, and how much focus is there on the consumer when, building digital products, enhancing that user experience? How important is it to get that right?
I think it's absolutely important to get that right. Customers really have to be at the forefront of every successful business. Ultimately, every successful business that has managed to stay successful for long has always gone back to the basics and has cracked the code of what customers need. For example, in the case of Amazon that you spoke about, Amazon essentially has not changed its focus areas in the last 25, 30 years. Amazon's focus criteria tend to be three things: give customers the best selection possible, the largest selection possible, give it to them at the cheapest possible price, and make the whole experience super convenient for them. So the ways and means of doing this constantly evolves, but essentially what Amazon is solving for, there's no reason for them to change it in the next 50 years, because no customer is going to come back and say, do not give me the largest selection, or I'm not going to go for the cheapest price, or I don't want the most convenient experience. So I think really being clear about what customers need, and then understanding that, what are the emergent ways and what are the best practices to make that happen. I think that is where, a lot of the focus needs to go to stay ahead of the curve in terms of understanding, to get the best selection, on a platform. What would that mean? To get the best logistics experience. Maybe, 5 years back, it was a different set of tools and systems. 5 years down the line, what is that going to look like? Will self-driving cars, for example, will they be a part of, let's say, drone technology? How will they be a part of the logistics system for tomorrow? So I think getting these two, pieces right in terms of the core customer needs and what are the ways and means to solve for that. I think it's just so important. And I think successful businesses always manage to have that clarity with them.
Nice, really good answer. And then finally, kind of looking beyond the pandemic and into kind of 2021 and beyond, how important is it going to be for organizations now looking to be more of a tech company and move away from traditional approaches or legacy systems? What's going to have to be the approach to move forward? As we've evolved as consumers, the playing field has changed slightly, and the pandemic has kind of forced us to think a little bit differently in how we approach things. So how important is it for industries as a whole to be thinking more tech and, moving away from traditional operating models, traditional thinking and that kind of thing?
I would start with individuals. For you and I and all of us, I think our lives have changed so much with the context and things are not the same. And I think the traditional mindsets and the traditional ways of doing things, like a lot of things and, ways in which we've been living our lives has completely shifted. The way we work has completely changed. And same is the case for organizations. I think the traditional ways of doing things are no longer applicable. With the changing context, one has to constantly look at how every behavior for the consumer is shifting, not just when it comes to the areas of the business, but on so many other aspects of their life, and what that means for this business. So will this need that they have for a particular solution from the business, will it continue to stay the same, or will it evolve into a different form and shape? So I think just being really observant of how these various shifts are happening, and then
Yeah.
evolving into that really flexible, agile mindset to then look at how to stay relevant for this changing paradigm. I think that is something that this situation has really forced all of us to do. And we're already seeing so many businesses emerge in this pandemic situation, and so many new ideas emerging. And I don't think we've all seen a time as strange and as exciting and as interesting as this, as we're witnessing now.
Nice. Well, that's all we've got time for, Radha. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a whistle-stop tour of kind of the insights that you have on building digital businesses. We could ask a lot more questions, and hopefully when we come to Singapore, when an in-person conference is back off the ground, it would be lovely to have you back with us and to hear more on your expertise there.
Well, thanks for a great chat, Chris. Like, it was a pleasure chatting with you. And yeah, look forward to the in-person conference soon. Meanwhile, huge shout out to you and the entire team at Roar Media for, bringing this virtual experience for all of us.
Good stuff. Well, thanks so much. I really do appreciate it. And especially given you're actually on a day off today. So thanks so much for joining us and taking the time to do so.
Thanks, Chris.